Hey folks, Kiltman here, Kiltman at yours. Oh, and your services too. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. In less than a week's time, we're going back to Middle Earth for the Lord of the Rings of Power. And like with House of the Dragon, I'm a massive Game of Thrones fan, but I deliberately stayed away from all the hype and all the blurb and went into that show pretty much through a glass darkly. I didn't have a clue what was going to happen and or what it was all about really, and it blew me away. I loved it. Now, I'm a much bigger Lord of the Rings fan, as you all know, hence the paraphernalia here, which has suddenly struck up around me. And I've been looking forward to this and kind of like dreading it at the same time. Oh, what's it going to be like? Oh, do we need to explore any more of this? Oh God, what's it all about? So I'm going in dark. We know it had its premiere a few days ago. And yeah, the reviews are typically OTT praise heavy, as you'd expect from a big premiere. They always are. There's nothing too critical about it, and they ain't giving too much away, obviously. It's just overviews. And, you know, I hate to use that word, shills, but you're going to get a lot of that as well. But I am now looking forward to this because I'm listening to Bear McCreary's fantastic Season 1 soundtrack. You can hear it in the background with a main theme by Howard Shore, who of course had done the original Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit for Peter Jackson. Oh, me and names, mate, me and names. I'm not even drinking whiskey. I'm drinking tea. It's breakfast time. And so I'm going to go in as dark as possible to this. Just go in cold and really enjoy it, hopefully. And the thing about this is that we have got a lot more to come. The rights to the Middle Earth Enterprises, or Middle Earth Estates, or whatever it was called, has been bought out by a company called Embracer. It sounds like a kind of sex toy, does it not? Something Sauron might use in his lonely nights. Bring tears to his eye. They bought the rights, and it's given them now the clout to do a hell of a lot with Middle Earth and all of Tolkien's Middle Earthian properties. Originally, the rights were with someone called Saul Zaentz, who I think also did the Ralph Bakshi late 70s rotoscoped animated version of Lord of the Rings, which is fantastic, folks. Wonderful, wonderful interpretation. And the eeriness of rotoscoping, for those of you that don't know what it is, that's using live action people and then drawing over them as they move around and run around and act and perform, but drawing over them, it gives a heightened reality. So all the hordes of orcs and the Uruk-hai attacking Helm's Deep, in that interpretation, it was truly eerie and ghastly to behold, but wonderful as well. Husky dog slurping water behind me there. So Saul Zaentz had the rights to it all, and then that's how Peter Jackson got the rights via Saul Zaentz and the license to do his movies and extend The Hobbit to infinite degrees. Now it's all gone, and it's gone to this Embracer company, and these guys are promising a hell of a lot more. I believe they've already got a Gollum game in the works. I don't know. But they want spin-off movies or TV shows to do with, so far they've listed Gandalf, Galadriel, Arwen, Aragorn, Gollum. Now, how do you folks feel about that? A lot of us have always been singing from the same hymn sheet that, you know, we love our properties, we love our original movies, and we don't want remakes, reimaginings, retweaks, reboots. We don't want sequels, prequels, sidequels. We don't want any of that because they're all rubbish. Well, yeah, that is a good rule of thumb, to be honest, because they are pretty lackluster, generally speaking. But with something like Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth, it's such a vast world, you could call it universe, that Tolkien created, that there's so much more to explore. And the reason why there is the avenue to do this, Tolkien did the Silmarillion as well, which gave all the backstories and side stories and what have you to every character who's ever been name dropped, every place, all these different periods and eras and ages, and then went on after what the end of Return of the King, all that sort of stuff. And it's so huge and vast that it'd be ridiculous not to attempt to plumb into some of this stuff and, try to get other stories being told. And unlike, say, Star Wars, where the expanded Star Wars universe still seems to revolve around the same bloody characters, with the likes of Lord of the Rings, there's many other characters whose stories can be told, which I am presuming, of course, is going to be the basis of the Rings of Power. These are names and characters that we've heard get spoken of, but now we're going to see their story play out. So you can do that with so many others. Now, obviously, they're making the first leap. Oh, we're going to tell an Aragorn story. Aragorn strides forth. See what I did there? Gandalf the Gay. We're going to go off on a complete new tangent. Imagine that, Gandalf the Gay. You shall not pass until you catch me. Ooh. Sauron, the high school years. Galadriel's first lesbian. No, where am I going with all this? Meat's back on the menu, boys. ... An orc's story. There's Where Eagles... Oh, hang on, that's been done. Where Eagles Dare. But there's so much you could do. You could do horror-inspired versions. You could have, like, a hobbit inherits some disused hotel somewhere just out of the Shire. And it could be called The Shireling. There's no end to what you could do. Escape a ragged ranger with only one eye, an eye patch. He's got a mission to go and rescue a hobbit, but he's only got 24 hours to do it. Escape from Parth Galen. I don't know. Or a ground force offshoot with Treebeard. Treebeard, who's over here. Tend your saplings with Treebeard. The show would go on for a long, long time. But yeah, there's so much more you could do with all of these things. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm playing the soundtrack now, which people who are into film music and I speak to regularly have already been listening to this. This is the first time I've put it on, actually. And this is the one with the Amazon exclusive tracks on it as well. And I'm loving it. The opening theme is by Howard Shore, which is lovely. But the rest of it, so far, sounds suitably grandiose, epic, full of harmony, melody, themes. Bear McCreary must be one of the busiest people in the world. Almost as busy as Hans Zimmer. Who just, like the Mines of Moria, he just has hundreds of goblins just to do his synthetic keyboard noodlings for him. But he is doing so many great themes and TV shows and movie work now. It's just beggars belief. And this, again, sounds extraordinary. It sounds faithful to what we've heard from Howard Shore for the original trilogy and The Hobbit. It all fits in with that, but it has Bear McCreary's own unique voice. So I'm loving this so far. I haven't really seen many clips of the show, The Rings of Power. But I've seen the trailers, and the first trailer I was not impressed with at all. I just thought, oh my god, what are they doing with this? Second trailer I thought was, I think the full trailer was better again. But I am definitely going to get on board with this. And offshoots, as I've been saying, are we happy with this? That this other company, Embracer, are going to start just bringing out more and more and more. Saturating, the cult medium with these characters and their backstories and other adventures, or bringing in entirely new ones. People have a problem with this, and they sit on two sides of the fence. The devotees are kind of like, well, no, it's a sacrilege, shouldn't do it. It's just the Lord of the Rings trilogy. That's it. It finishes there. And a little bit of The Hobbit. That's it. Nothing more. And they're not open to what Tolkien created outside of that. And then you've got the people who just slavishly want more and more and more. It's younger people that tend to want the more and more and more. Oh, I'm into this. It's great. And they don't get so protective about a commodity, a brand, a character, a genre. So they just want more of the same thing again. There's a danger there because the TV executives and the movie producers just go like, well, just rehash the same old story again. Oh, it's not a ring of power. It's a bracelet of power. And it's got to go to a different mountain somewhere else, and I've just thought of another offshoot. After the Shireling, you could have a Numerian Balrog in Gondor. Hey! Some hapless waif gets bitten by a dying Balrog and then begins to transform steadily over the course of the movie. There's loads you could do, loads. But, so you got people who don't want any more, and you got people who just don't care. Just give me more, and quality doesn't mean a damn thing to them. But I think in this particular case, you've got so much more to explore. Tolkien wrote a hell of a lot more than just The Rings and The Hobbit and The Silmarillion. He had other stories to do with Middle-earth, and going back even further, and he had the unfinished, the unfinished tales, unfinished stories, which his son Christopher Tolkien took over and tried to finish. And some of these were very short, but some were actually big, vast tomes as well. So there's a hell of a lot that can still be officially explored and exploited from Middle-earth. And I'm now really wanting more of it. Just don't rehash stuff. Just don't do all the things that we're going to expect. You can do a little nod, a little wink to the things that we've seen before. You know, have some, jokes about the Shire and all that. And keep that sense of humour in there. Make it as earthy and as realistic as Peter Jackson did. But obviously you can't go as far as, say, Westeros and Game of Thrones. They're not going to get no nudie bits in the rings, I don't think. They're not. It isn't one of those rings of power, I don't think. But then again, with a company like Embracer taking over it, who knows? But yeah, so guys, just a short video really, just to say that I am now on board for this. I have been steadfastly avoiding it. I mean, for me this year, it was Thor, it was Prey. Well, they've both been out now. I still love them both, but Prey's still the one for me. But House of the Dragon is out. I reviewed episode 1, and I'm liking the fact that it's an episode a week as well. I mean, sometimes you really want to binge watch all of this. I want to do that. I'm not saying if House of the Dragon or even this was all condensed into one, binge watching session, that I wouldn't really totally embrace it and love it. Embrace? You see, I've become a minion. I've become a shill for Embracer. But I kind of like that build-up after one episode. I know you're on the forums, you're talking about it. Oh, I'm doing little videos. Wow, that was great. It did a bit low-key as well. And I love the week in between, the build-up. So, isn't Rings of Power, that's all in one though, isn't it? Or is it? Because that's Amazon, isn't it? Amazon Prime. So, yeah. There's a lot to play for here. And Middle-earth is in jeopardy again. So, guys, let me know what you think. Comment below. And are you on board for more rings beyond the Rings of Power? More Middle-earth? And, Aragorn? Because you're going to go through all that sort of the casting choices of bringing these people in. Oh, and we have a cameo appearance by the original, which would be difficult because the original Aragorn was John Hurt in the Ralph Bakshi animated version. Sadly, that ain't going to happen. But yeah, I wouldn't mind things like that if they were brought in to play a different character, completely reverse themselves. So, get all the hobbits in there. Elijah Wood's done his best to distance himself from Frodo by playing sex pests, paedophiles, murderers, maniacs. He's done everything to try to just divorce himself from the heartbreaking, self-sacrificing little hobbit. Cheers, Joel. So yeah, less than a week's time, I think we've got this. And then we'll probably get more and more news being drip-fed about these possible offshoots. Meditate with Gollum, a time when you can forget, what is it? What did he do? Learn to forget the taste of bread, the sound of trees, the softness of the wind, and forget your own name. Just drift away with Gollum, or is it Smeagol? Either way, a precious time is guaranteed. So there's loads of stuff you could do with it. I would expect Middle-earth to be well and truly plundered. It'll be like the battlefield of the Somme. there'll just be the whole ground will be completely upturned, and there'll be no stone left unturned. Everything that Tolkien ever wrote down to do with Middle Earth will be used, sold, parceled up, packaged, exploited, and sold to the masses. It's coming. And the merchandise. Oh dear God, I spent absolute fortunes getting all the figures, getting everything to do, all the different sized figures for Lord of the Rings, all the big exclusives, all the limited edition stuff, everything, statues, you name it, I got it. I could fill the Mines of Moria with all the stuff I got. And now it's all going to happen again, isn't it? And with the rising cost of living and energy bills, speaking of it, how the hell could you afford to heat Mount Doom the way things are going these days? Come on, Sauron. You must have a few backhanders and a few scams going on. Right, folks. Lord of the Rings and Middle Earth is going to come washing over you like a big tsunami. It is not going away. It's only going to come on in leaps and bounds. Loads more. Jesus, are you prepared? Are you arsed? Folks, I've been on with Shabby Kiltman. More to come. I did this at breakfast time when I'm half asleep. My eyes are still sort of glued shut. But I thought, I'm going to get this out there before the working day begins. Anyway, please keep it Celtic. And I'm going to see you all. Foosh, foosh, foosh. Monkey. Middle Earth. I want top Earth. I want the top scale, the top echelon. That's what I want. I want a penthouse suite in the Shire.